I don't know why I'm addressing Rebeccah directly, because Rebeccah does not listen. You do not listen, Rebeccah. She just doesn't listen. Maybe in 4 or 5 whatever years, she'll crawl out of this pit her personality sits in. But as long as she keeps blaming everyone else for her own miserable lot, I don't have high hopes for her. I wish you good luck in the future, Rebeccah, because I have a feeling that when everything comes tumbling down, you will have nothing else.
Toppins, 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 a bag. Hey, Rebeccah! It's time for the new Pixar Path! Yo, Rebeccah! It's time for the new Pixar Path!
It's not the first of the month!
What are you doing in there? Why are you in the void? Oh, it's about that enter video, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Sure. I say a lot of things in my past that I am not proud of, that I regret saying.
I can imagine.
I'm not exactly sure where I want to start. I guess I could start with the thing that's bugged me the most, per se, and then go from there. The thing that's been eating me up the most is what I said to Hope.
Rebeccah told me that I tend to be too suicidal and accused me of doing it for brownie points or manipulation. The fact that this woman can suggest that I want to kill myself for fucking brownie points is just cruel.
I was wrong to say that. I helped Hope out in the past, but one night I guess I got angry at her and I said that statement behind her back. I instantly realized that it was wrong for me to say that, and I told Hope that I was sorry for what I did. I apologized for this when I first made this mistake. Here is a Google Docs that I sent to both John and Hope on this matter. They accepted the apology, and we moved on from it. This was back in September of 2020. They accepted the apology, and we moved on from it. This was back in September of 2020, and I still got to talk to both of them afterwards. I still edited for John even after that. And the other thing that's been eating me is how I treat my employees. It's a mistake that I made.
Working with her was fun at first. I didn't have too much experience with editing, and I was happy to gain some. But she did put a lot of pressure on her employees, and I don't believe she understood how long it would take for each project.
I'm gonna reveal a dark truth about the internet. The internet is the only place in existence where you technically can pay people below minimum wage. YouTube technically doesn't pay their YouTubers minimum wage. The simplest reason is that I can't afford minimum wage or even like $10 an hour or more for everything. If I could, I would pay my employees more than I do right now. Every person that has edited for me, we reached an agreement that worked out for both of us. And if there was no agreement, the editor didn't have to edit for me. Phoenix Star, for example, didn't like the payment methods or speed, so he left, and that was perfectly fine for him to do. Every editor that has worked for me was allowed to leave me. There was no contract, and they weren't forced to edit each video in question. As for the one person that I did forget to pay, I was going to pay them back in 2020, but I couldn't right away because they didn't have a PayPal, and I forgot to pay them once they had it. I don't memorize every single conversation that I have had with every single person in my life. That's impossible to do for any person. And when I did reach out to them, they no longer wished to receive the money. If people had a problem with me when it came to payment, they should have contacted me more. They didn't have to edit those videos for me. And if I'm correct, I Love Kim Possible a lot and Game Explain had these exact same issues.
Even the people that Rebeccah didn't directly attack had issues with her. She had this constant, almost obsession with pedophiles.
I shouldn't use the word pedophile, even though it was only on fictional characters. The only real YouTubers that I used that word on were Cosmodor and Toon Critic, because both were out as untrustworthy sexual deviants. As for the abuse part, in my own past, I have had people that made me lose friendships that were actual toxic people. These were in my middle school and high school years, and that made me have the logic of anyone cutting ties with me was an abuser. Can I say that I was wrong in thinking that? Can I say that I now know better from that mistake?
You know, not everyone is going to believe in you, Rebeccah.
True, but as the old saying goes, show, don't tell. So that's why in my future, I'll actually be a better person and not the monster that I used to be. I want to show everyone that I want to be better by improving myself as a person. Actions speak louder than words. so I'm gonna prove to you guys that I can be better. Let me ask something. If I genuinely feel sorry about something, would the right thing to do is apologize? Because I do believe that apologizing is the right thing to do. Back when I was a kid, when people did stuff wrong, we tried to make amends for our mistakes, say we're sorry and move on. Nowadays, you can try to make amends and apologize and people would think you're still terrible. You can do everything in your power to prove to everyone you change, it will still not be enough. Because sometimes, for some people, it's never enough. Sometimes you can't change someone's mind, even when proof is right in front of them.
Luckily, though, in my opinion, the only fitting diagnosis for all of this behavior is narcissism.
And that's a mistake that I made that I am trying to fix. When people make mistakes, the best thing to do is to learn from them and not repeat them again. Even you, John, made mistakes in the past that you too got over. I believe that you have improved from your mistakes.
The actual incident itself isn't entirely relevant. It was the fact that Rebeccah proved that she could not be trusted to keep a secret.
If this is about the social media thing, that was an accident. It's my fault for not thinking this through. I take blame for this entirely. Do not blame anyone else. I only ever stated this so that way, John, your Twitter account wouldn't be taken down with people thinking it was an imposter account. Because people will take down imposter account. There was never once a, don't tell anyone this, Rebeccah. You never stated this once. And if you're trying to tell me it's common sense, I don't always know what you're thinking, John. I don't have the best common sense in the world. But yes, this is me for now. I'm trying to state that I should ask you more questions, or people more questions in general before I make a decision. What's that saying? Don't assume things because you'll make an ass out of you and me? Yeah, that's what I thought.
And keep in mind, I wasn't getting paid for this either.
But you didn't ask for money on any of those things. If you did ask for money, I would have paid you. Like the drawings that you did in the past, you were fine with doing those for free. And if you still want money for those drawings, I will gladly pay you for those drawings.
I had 5 days because for some ungodly reason that I cannot comprehend, Rebeccah wanted it done by the 18th.
And that's something that I made a mistake with. I never did assign an animatic before, and I thought that those were quicker to do because they were just like pencil drawings. 2020 was my first time ever being a boss, period. For the first 23 years of my life, I never hired anyone to do anything before. It's a rookie mistake, and rookies are bound to make mistakes. And I'm sorry for rushing you, Hope, and I didn't realize the speed. That's faults that I did. Those were my mistakes.
Maybe in 4 or 5 whatever years, she'll crawl out of this pit her personality sits in.
You know how you improve as a person? By getting confidence. If all you get is negative feedback with no one to care about you, you're not going to improve. How can I improve as a person if I don't get confidence? And I think that wraps this video up.
What about the editing?
The editing?
Yeah, Enter talked a lot about your editing skills in that video.
Rebeccah was my worst editor.
Is editing a contest? Should my editing skills really contribute to me being a terrible person? Say all you want how I treat people on my team and friends, but shit talking me for how I edit shouldn't be a real high concern. I'm not exactly sure if that is dogpiling right there, but it kinda feels like it, just to me.
According to Rebeccah, Thundercat's Roar and 12 Ounce Mouse are shows about social commentary.
But isn't that what you stated in your original review on it?
And I know that I was a moron because only a moron would ever hire Rebeccah.
You're not a moron, John, for hiring me, and people aren't morons for hiring me. I don't claim to be a professional person. I'm just an amateur, a rookie. Maybe that's why I got mad at your payment things, because professional quote-unquote editors get paid $35 an hour, like anyone that you see on television. Those people usually get paid like $35 an hour for editing. And I guess I just thought that's what it would have been like for video editors, for professionals, for big channels.
She copies everything else from my videos. I don't know why she wouldn't also pick how I funded them.
I like to think that I was more inspired by you. There's a difference between inspiration and ripoff. But yes, I used to do that in my older videos and even my videos this year, which is something that I regret. It's a mistake that I made.
And I'm also, might as well as mention, I never asked for any of her self-inserts.
If you had a problem with it, John, why didn't you state it from the start? I didn't have to put my OC into the video. I only ever did it for fun. Even the thumbnail for Certifiable Superstar, I just did that because I thought it would give the review a better effect to help showcase what was going on. I only ever put my OC in to prove a point for you, or to use me for the credits, which you do nowadays in your videos.
Hey, you've reached the end of the video.
So I don't get what the big deal is in that regard.
Like 6 or 7 of the biggest mistakes in my life was not firing Rebeccah at an earlier date.
John, this is an actual question. Did you write this script? Because it honestly doesn't feel like your normal style of writing. If this is for that Coda comment, I realized right away what I did was wrong, and I took it down, and that comment wasn't even up for 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure you wrote this video, John, but it just kind of feels like your team wrote this and not yourself. And if they did help, that's perfectly fine. It's just that this video kind of feels a bit different. Also, if you only hired me for speed, I am sorry for slowing down. Life got in the way as well as a new job. I should have quit earlier, but I didn't because I was still getting paid.
Many of the videos that she edited have no background music.
Now that is a nitpick. I made decisions like that because you sometimes didn't want music, and then sometimes you did want music. Sometimes I didn't add music in because you wanted to add it in yourself, like for the 80s list. Should I also bring up Nicorama, how you only gave me a max limit of 3 hours for each show? Should I mention how you were mad at me when I didn't get them done in time? Should I mention that we had miscommunication during that marathon? Like how you originally said we were gonna do a pattern of one each, I do one, you do one, repeat? But it fell through. I don't even know why I need to talk about the editing, because you, John, was always fine with it. Back at the start of the decade, on your second channel, you made a video on growing around, and you talked about teamwork. And in it, you said this.
When I look into my past with growing around, a quote comes to my mind from A Bug's Life of all things.
First rule of leadership. Everything is your fault.
I know it's said by the villain of the movie, but it's actually good advice. And it's something that I take into my overall life. If the people I work with screw up, and the screw-ups slip by me, it is my fault. There is no excuse. It's my fault the second that I decided this is okay in some way, shape, or form. And someone blaming their employees or the people they work with is one thing that instantly sinks my respect of them.
Is this statement outdated now? Do you still follow this statement? I always assumed that my editing was good because you posted the video regardless. Should the employees be blamed now? If there's anything I take fault in, it was a lack of communication. I feel like Enter and I both failed at this situation. We both shouldn't have made our behind the scenes issues go public. I take fault in that personally. But I am still mad at this situation because most of these mistakes that I made, I have fixed a long time ago. And I've apologized for them a long time ago as well. And when you have a person that wasn't the best with you firing me, it makes me confused. Especially when there are no screenshots or anything explaining why I got fired. If you just fired me directly and provided everything that you needed to get me fired, I would have stayed quiet and left you forever back in June.
Just remember, Rebeccah, sometimes apologizing isn't enough. Sometimes there are mistakes that you make that everyone won't forgive you for. Sometimes you can do your best and it won't always work out. Sometimes you might make a mistake and not realize it. Sometimes
you can't always save everybody.
we all make mistakes, but we can either run from them or learn from them. So what are you going to do now?
Simple. Actually be better. Be better with my videos. Be more original with my criticisms. Be less shouty. Give my editors more money and more time to work on said videos. Just focus on reviews. Get to the point. Don't drag on tangents that don't mean anything.
Final thoughts?
I took down any video that focused on John because I don't wish to associate with him on my channel anymore. If you wish to no longer speak to me, I understand why. If you want to still like John, that's fine. If you want to still like John's friends, that's perfectly fine as well. You don't have to hate him or his friends to please me. I am sorry for how I used to be. I am sorry for being an egotistical, abusive, narcissistic asshole. If I had known that I used to be like that, I wouldn't be like that. I am sorry for how I treated Grace, Hope, Sarah, Koda, and John.
And that's the right thing to do.
It is?
Accept that you made a mistake, make amends, and move on.
Those sound right, and that's exactly what I want to do.
That would be nice.
I want to move on from drama in general. I hate being a part of it.
Drama is overrated.
It's time to move on from my past. John and his friends are not part of my life anymore, and I'm never going to mention them in my videos again. Time to focus on my future. So, Dashi, what's the next movie that we're doing?
Wally!
Oh goody, a movie about the future that takes place in a dystopia.
Let's go. I have a special guest for this one.
It's nice to finally go back to fun.
Don't worry, Rebeccah. I'm going to be by your side. No matter what.